The morning my father mocked me in court, he had no doubt he was walking away victorious. Seated beside my brother, he carried the confidence of someone who had spent years constructing a narrative and never imagined it would be questioned. To him, I was the disappointment, the daughter who left town, skipped family gatherings, and, as he liked to claim, could barely support herself. He wanted everyone in the room to hear it. The courtroom wasn't large, yet every seat appeared occupied by relatives who had spent years accepting his version of who I was. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people who had watched him reduce me to a cautionary tale instead of seeing me as a human being. As I entered, he lifted his chin and gave a smug smile. Look who finally decided to show up. A few scattered laughs followed. I said nothing, continued forward, and sat down. The dispute centered around my grandmother's estate. After her passing, she left land, investments, and a family house on the edge of town. Her will distributed everything equally among her grandchildren. My father and brother contested it, arguing that she had not been mentally capable when she signed it. What they truly resented was that I had been given the same consideration as everyone else. Their attorney spoke first, describing me as unstable, unreliable, and absent, a woman supposedly too irresponsible to handle inherited assets. My father nodded along to every accusation as though he were watching a performance he approved of. Then the attorney brought up my alleged financial problems, and my father laughed. She can't even pay her rent. The judge's expression hardened slightly, but my father was too entertained to notice. I remained silent. Years ago, I learned that some people don't listen to understand. They listen only to reinforce what they've already decided is true. The judge looked toward me. Ms. Mercer, would you like to respond? I rose from my seat. Yes, Your Honor. My father leaned back comfortably, expecting to watch me fail. Instead, I handed a folder to the clerk. The judge opened it, reviewed the first page, and stopped. He adjusted his glasses and looked again. Then his eyes lifted to me. Colonel Emma Mercer? He asked. The smile disappeared from my father's face. Yes, Your Honor, I replied. The judge turned another page, then another. United States Army. 24 years of service. Multiple command positions. Strategic operations. Distinguished service commendations. The room fell completely silent except for the faint rustle of paper. My father stared at me as though I had transformed into a different person. My brother's confusion slowly shifted into discomfort. One of my cousins lowered her gaze to her lap. At last, my father managed to speak. Why didn't she tell us? I almost laughed. I had told them countless times. After promotions, after deployments, after every new assignment. I called. I mailed letters. I sent photographs and updates. They simply preferred the version of me that supported their story. The judge continued reading, and then his expression changed once more. According to the financial disclosure included with these records, he said, Miss Mercer owns her residence outright and carries no mortgage debt. A murmur spread through the courtroom. My father looked as though the ground beneath him had suddenly shifted. The judge placed the documents on the bench. Sir, your daughter is financially stable, highly decorated, and professionally accomplished. The allegations made against her are unsupported. My father remained silent. For perhaps the first time, he had no response prepared. Then the judge opened the sealed letter attached to my grandmother's will and began reading aloud. I leave my estate in equal portions because character matters more than gossip. The granddaughter who visited when nobody else did deserves the same share as those who appeared only for appearances. No one needed clarification about whom she meant. While my family argued over money, I had spent years with my grandmother, helping her cook, listening to her stories, and holding her hand whenever the pain became too much. I wasn't there because I expected anything in return. I was there because I loved her. My father lowered his eyes. My brother stared at the floor. The judge rejected the challenge, and the will remained exactly as my grandmother had written it. As people began filing out, no one congratulated my father. No one was laughing anymore. The story he had repeated for years had finally collided with the truth and fallen apart. Outside, sunlight flooded the courthouse steps. My father caught up with me before I reached my vehicle. For a few seconds, he said nothing. Then, In a voice I barely recognized, he asked, "Why didn't I know any of this?" I looked at him and felt something inside me settle. "Because you decided who I was before you ever tried to learn who I actually was," I said. He winced. There was no argument, no defense, only silence. I got into my car and shut the door. I didn't leave feeling angry. I didn't leave feeling victorious either. What I felt was quieter than that. Freedom. My grandmother used to say that the greatest victory is building a life so strong that it no longer needs an audience. Sitting there with the courthouse behind me, I finally understood exactly what she meant. My father had finally met the daughter he had dismissed for so many years. The only thing left to wonder was whether he could live with realizing it too late for it to make any difference.